So my name is Anna Grace Raddick. I ran for the 9th Congressional District of Massachusetts. I'm working out because I'm not going to let this butt into my workout. I wrote to the Pope, and one of the things I shared with the Pope are the reasons why I deserve to live and not get killed for life insurance, money laundering on Wall Street through MetLife. So I created a list because I don't know if people know, but in Saudi Arabia, they actually have courts for women to go to defend themselves against accusations of impropriety. There's no such court here. There's just a covert situation that happens. And people are basically chosen randomly, in my case not so randomly, to die for life insurance. So I just wanted to show the powers that be why I believe I am a worthy citizen. One of them is that I have good health. I take care of my health. I've done so since I was quite young. I was very sporty. I walk maybe 4 miles 2 times per week for 25 years now. I'm conscientious about my health. I don't eat junk food. I take care of my body and my health. And mainly because I took Latin in high school, and I learned that in the Bible it says to take care of your body, it's like a temple. And so I took that very seriously. I also read something a long time ago about how to be a good citizen that was written by a Roman philosopher, and he said to take care of your body, and that's what I did. So I'm pretty healthy, actually. I actually have lower cholesterol than most people even. And I also am a chaste woman. I'm a good woman, and the reason why I mention this is because that's usually the reason why men kill women, let's face it, because they sleep around, they fornicate. So I actually am very chaste. In fact, I didn't even date as a teenager, and I did that. I obeyed my parents, and I didn't even go. And so I also wanted to say that I am also ambitious. I was told for very many years that I shouldn't go to college. I went to college anyway. I didn't listen to people. People told me that girls like me looked like they were dumb, and I just went anyway, and girls like me didn't go to college. I didn't even have my counselor in high school help me fill out my applications. I had to do it myself. I'm also hardworking. I've worked since I was 15 years old. I put 100% of my effort into my work. I also worked as a social worker, sometimes double shifts, 16 hours, depending on emergencies. I put 100% effort and diligence in everything I did, even though most of the things I did were called pink-collar work, like working at stores. I have a very strong work ethic. And I don't just work for money, I work to work. I'm also a former social worker. I worked with MR, MH. I worked my way up to being a manager, even though I was quite young and I didn't really have a college degree at that time. And I learned that I'm actually one of 20% of women around the world who worked full-time for at least 2 years. This is around the world. Not many women have worked as many hours and as long as I have. I actually worked for near poverty level wages. I also worked with homeless women and children. I did this because I wanted to serve my country. I'd always wanted to join the Army, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to actually do this for a few years while I'm in college. I'm going to give back to my community. So anyway, I also never took welfare. Not that there's anything wrong with taking welfare, I never did. I actually, at one point, I was really hungry and I lost my job, and I didn't go on food stamps at that time. I probably should have, but I didn't want to be a burden to the government. This is usually something that's, I don't know, it's usually something that people consider, the government considers in evaluating citizens in past regimes. Okay, and here's another one right here. I wanted to be a police officer since I was a kid. I also wanted to be a nun, and I did want to sign up to go into the Army when I was 19, but I was dissuaded not to. I also didn't know if they'd accept a woman on the police force, so I never applied. I think my choice occupations show a lot about my character, that I follow the rules and I try to, fit in society. I also come from a good family. My grandfather on my dad's side, he actually saved up $40,000 for my education. That's why I went to college. He was the CPA on Wall Street. Actually, he saved $60,000, but I only got $40,000 because I opened the money up sooner than I should have, because I didn't get to be old enough. My other grandfather was a World War II vet. My My grandmother was also a World War II Navy nurse. My grandfather was a US Marine. He was actually an orphan, so I really don't feel like family should be considered when considering someone is good or not. People should be evaluated by their individual characteristics, not on their family. Because just as I have very good family, I have some family that has seen hard times too. And for anyone to be evaluated by family, I think that people should be evaluated by themselves, who they are. In fact, women for a very long time have not been evaluated by themselves. And in fact, they are actually frequently murdered for life insurance policies, in England especially. If their father had a felony, it was an old law. It's not a law in the United States. And so I also wanted to say my father actually, his knuckles actually bled to put a roof over my house. I used to see him at night. His knuckles were bleeding. He worked as a mechanic. And he got a very nice house for me. My mother also worked hard. She went to Harvard. And she's actually a counselor. And a lot of my family went to Ivy League schools, which is pretty impressive considering we just came here 3 generations ago. I live up to my civic duties. I took a civil service exam to become a police officer after learning I was a victim of life insurance fraud, which no one has helped me in the government. I also ran for Congress, which was extremely difficult, given that my car was stolen, I earn below poverty wages, I don't have much in my bank account, and I don't really own much actually, because I don't make much. I live rurally. So, and I actually ran against multimillionaires with fancy degrees. I also presented solutions to the crime I suffered, not just hysterical complaints. At JFK asked you, don't ask what your country can do. Don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And that's what I did. I presented a new ID program to help prevent these deaths. I also created solutions to prevent this crime within the Federal Immigration Office, which is trafficking of women for green cards and men, Americans and foreigners. And I did this with at great risk to my safety and my reputation. I mean, nobody wants to look like a victim, least of all me. I don't really like this right now. I'm also a good person. I was taught that you go to hell only if you're not good. And even if I was tempted or starving, I didn't take food stamps. I used to have holes in my clothing even. And one time I had like 2 socks to my name. I'm not kidding. And I never stole any socks or anything. And so I really don't think that being targeted for this crime is really fair, considering I tried to be an upright citizen. I also wanted to say that these people told me that they had murdered somebody, and that she was a valedictorian and a head cheerleader of her class, and they told me that these are the types of people they murder for life insurance policies all the time. They just don't care. Either the person gets in the way, or they just sign a policy. Shouldn't there be a new ID program for people like that? Or military vets and police who sign them accidentally too? I demand a new system of judgment if someone is choosing people. It judges the quality of a person, even their poverty and dire struggle. I don't think people should be judged by their families or their poverty. I demand a system to not kill people for life insurance ever again. I also want law enforcement to know that when a woman is relatively attractive, not that I am right now, but maybe a few years back, she can be quite hurt. And the guys who do this, they do have their fun. I think that they are doing this to female politicians and female police officers, and that these women don't want to speak up. I think that they are being harassed. I don't know how many, but I believe that it can't just be me. And I was told that they think that these women actually enjoy it, so I highly doubt that. And I just wanted to say to the powers that be, I ran for Congress. That was not easy when I was trafficked, raped, beaten, all my stuff was stolen. I was wrongly this, wrongly that. And I didn't accept any contributions to my congressional run. I ran against men with advanced degrees, very comfortable lifestyles, a lot of money in the bank. And I did this, and I stood and I held my ground. And I just want to also say that when people don't vote for or help women obtain jobs and careers, you know, or when people also sabotage and do subterfuge to women, the powers that be are actually deluding themselves to think that women are not capable of working just as hard as men and being just as smart as men. It may appear from the outset that the woman is not capable, but you're just moving the goalposts around. And I think there needs to be a new system to move money around or corporatize MetLife in a way that respects life and the dignity and sanctity of every person in the United States, Europe, or wherever, that respects also military and police service. I think all free democratic countries should be, this crime should not exist.